Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Since Kim Kardashian couldn't pass the bar, I don't think we can hire her. But I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, what we need is a samurai attorney to defend the samurai wallet case from the out-of-control, belligerent, psychotic, insane, criminalistic Justice Department. Yeah, they're going to probably come after me for saying that, but I'm telling you right now, they're criminals of injustice, cloaked in the dagger of the Justice Department. We thought it was solved under the Trump administration, but no, they're carrying on the Biden budget. They're carrying on the Biden Justice Department. It's a tragedy, to say the least. We're with Lance Migliaccio, thebigmig.com. Check that out. And our guest is Keonne Rodriguez. He's one of the co-founders of this Samurai wallet. And I was kind of mentioning these banks. You know, I was a mortgage broker for a long time. There's been banks that have been caught in scandal after scandal after scandal. None of those guys get hit as hard as you got, Keonne.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like Lance said. It's an old boys club. They have connections. They have resources. They have money. I don't have any of those things. I'm a software developer. I created a tool, and the government hated what I created. And in order to tell people this is what you can expect if you create stuff that we don't like, they came down hard. I mean, they raided my house with 50 FBI agents, drones, armored vehicles, laser sights on my and my wife's chest. They went as hard as they possibly could. And like Lane said, I'm a nonviolent guy. I don't have a criminal record. They had no indication that there was anything to be worried about. Had they just contacted me or contacted my lawyer, I would have been happy to speak with them and let them know why I didn't think I was violating the law.
And let's talk about this thing. Right?
Wait, and let me add, Sam, let me just say one thing and then you jump in. Look what they just did with Comey. Comey, an intelligence operative that clearly is a flight risk with all his knowledge.
James goes free.
He could have multiple passports. Comey, forget only what happened with his charges. He gets self-surrender. If anybody's a flight risk, it would be James Comey. He's got the skills, he's got the network, he's got the assets, he's got the international context. No, but instead, Keonne, because they want to make it press worthy, right? They want to splatter him all over. That way he can never get a fair trial if he decides to go to jury trial, because they're going to show all the videos and all the dogs and the flashbangs and the weapons. 50 federal agents for Keonne? Are you kidding me? He's a software programmer.
I could have simply said, come on down to McDonald's, let me buy you a Big Mac.
We'd like to have a discussion with you, or we've got an indictment and we want you to self-surrender, but that's not good enough, right? They have to make it press worthy. They have to get all the flash. They have to get they're all dressed up in their SWAT gear. They all come in with their guns blazing. Oh, we're going to, and they're hoping that, and by the way, they'll do this also. Here's a warrant, and the search is supposed to be maybe for, computers, hard drives, paperwork. And while they're there, they just happen to find something that falls within another crime. Even though it's not on the warrant list, I guarantee that would have ended up on his indictment, which is not within the scope of the law. They didn't need 50, 60 agents. What's the cost of that to the American taxpayer? Why do we need 50, 60 agents to arrest a software guy? This is what we need. And this is my point. But no, meanwhile, Letitia James, self-surrender. Comey, self-surrender. I'm tired of this. If they're going to use 50 agents on Keonne, then I want 50 agents used on Letitia James, on Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Ray.
If we use 50 agents on Keonne, you got to use 1,000 agents on these other people with multiple passports and all kinds of government ties to evade the law and be above the law. And you got to have thousands of agents on those people if we're going to, scale properly. But Keonne, I want to bring up a broader point to this whole discussion, because the controversy relates to this privacy issue. Privacy advocates and civil liberties experts are all kind of on your side going, hey, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. If you're guilty of obscuring the origin and destination of something, I'm afraid to create any software, sir.
Yeah, you should.
I might obscure the origin of this or that, or what if I create any software? At some point I could be held accountable for things that I didn't even realize were issues, right?
Correct. Yeah. Under the government's new theory, again, this case is the first time this theory has been expounded by the DOJ, that software developers are responsible for the actions of their end users. It's unbelievable, right? It has massive implications for all types of software, including VPNs, including search engines, including in the crypto space, miners and node operators. It's an incredibly expansive theory, and they unfortunately got away with it in this case.
And Sam, let's talk about that. Somebody goes onto YouTube and they research how to convert a weapon to full automatic, or they go onto YouTube and they look at some hand to hand combat videos, and now they go out and commit a crime, and and that person gets injured and or dies, right? Where there's actual an equity claim. Are they going after the YouTube video people when they go through the guy's browser and see that he was browsing? How about the cartels when they use a non-commercial drone in a cartel operation, which they're doing regularly
Yeah,
now?
got to get the drone operator.
Yeah.
Throw that
What
guy
about
in
the
the
drone
clink. Yeah.
manufacturer? What about the guy that made the batteries that went in the drone? Is he going to get convicted? I mean, this extension, and that's the problem, right? When we allowed them, and a lot of people don't understand this, the subject matters of these cases, Admiralty maritime law. Everybody goes, what do you mean Admiralty maritime? The truth is, it's an extensionary way that the courts have allowed themselves to become unconstitutional and non-constitutional.
Yeah, let me give you the quick transactional change that articulated that so people understand, because what you're talking about, Lance, is great stuff, but a lot of times it's too complicated for folks. But think about it this way. It used to be the judge had to obey the law. Now the judge just smirks at you and goes, "I am the law."
Yeah.
Isn't that the change?
The truth of the matter is, taking that extensionary subject matter and just allowing it to invade everything as a land-breathing predator. That's what they talk about when it comes to Admiralty Maritime. That's the truth of it. What's happened here is you take the precedence of Keonne's case, and now they could apply that probably fundamentally to almost anything. So if I sell this skull to somebody, this is a bronze skull, it's very heavy, and now they kill Sam Bushman with it. Am I now responsible because the guy used the skull in a manner that was criminal? Am I supposed to be charged
as part
of
the creators responsible, and the people that funded the skull creators responsible? I mean, what I mean is this never ends if you're not careful, right?
And that is the issue. When the law goes beyond the scope of what its limits are supposed to be, because our founders were very specific, 17 subject matters specific in the Constitution for subject matter of these cases: forts, docks, arsenals, crimes against the post office, crimes against the currency, not fiat currency, but actual coin, right? Crimes against ambassadors, 200-mile district of the water, yada, yada. My point is, when you have allowed the court, and they've been doing this for decades, they just keep expanding and expanding. All these other crimes are supposed to be left to the state. Now, if Keonne's case had been a state case, they're probably using the fact that it was global, international, blah, blah, blah. But had it been a state case, he would have gotten probation. So when you look at the application,
even the bankers who deal worldwide, though, they get fines. They don't.
They get this
prison for this kind of stuff.
They get a slap on the wrist, and then they get fines. He would have been fined for running.
And then usually they get a TV show, or they somehow appear in government somewhere and get some protected job, or they get special privileges up the wazoo. I want to change the subject slightly, Keonne, to your wife, and I don't mean to make this personal, but I do think this is relevant. How is she feeling right now? And have they talked to her about this kind of stuff? Because I think your heart and mind matter in this thing, and nobody knows you better than she.
Yeah, absolutely. She's doing well. She's incredibly resilient and strong. It takes something like this event to really show you what a person's made of. And she has stood by me every step of the way and has showed me what she's made of. And I think, our relationship is even stronger because of it. So she's hanging in there. She's very tough. And obviously she doesn't want to lose me to the Bureau of Prisons for 5 years. But we're going to make it work.
All right. Keonne Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen, billandkeonne.org is the website. Please provide support. For Lance Migliaccio and George Ballantine, Merry Christmas, Thanksgiving to every one of you guys. I'm starting Christmas early, baby. That's what I'm saying. Merry Christmas to their families as well. God save our republic.